Good afternoon, this is Mrs. Jackson, and this afternoon we are going to talk about how you can read and interpret data in a bar graph. And as you can see, our bar graph today is showing us books read in October, and we find that by looking at the title. The title of the bar graph tells what the bar graph is about. And this bar graph is showing books read in October, and down the side it shows you the students. And the list of students tells us that each student is listed separately. We can see that this bar represents Kate, this bar represents Seth, this bar represents Amy, and this bar represents Max. The length of each bar shows us how many books that student read. And we can look at the scale to figure out how to read the graph. And in this case, our scale runs along the bottom, and our scale runs from 0 to 16. And since each line is equally spaced and the numbers go up by 2, we can then see that we are counting by 2s: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So if we look where each bar ends on the graph, we'll be able to tell how many books each student read. So for example, it shows us on this pictograph that Kate's bar ends at 12. That shows us that Kate read 12 books in the month of October. And if we look at the next bar on our pictograph, our next bar is represented by Seth, and Seth's bar stops at the 8. If we go all the way down, we can see that Seth's bar stops at the 8 on our bar graph, and so then we know that Seth read 8 books in the month of October. And if we look again at our graph, we can see that Amy's bar stops at 14. So then we know that Amy read 14 books in the month of October. And our last student represented here is Max. Let's just scoot this over. And Max's bar is represented in purple, and his bar stops at the 6. So that tells us that Max read 6 books in the month of October. So we can put that information in here also. And there is Max with his 6 books that he read. We can use this information from the bar graph to answer questions about the students. For example, we wanted to know how many books that Seth read, and we can look at our bar graph and see that Seth read 8 books in the month of October. And that is how we can use a bar graph in order to interpret data.